Let's visit the 90s all over again. Put on those hammer pants. This is Dope Nostalgia.
Hey everybody, Dope Nostalgia Podcast, and I'm your host, Naomi. Today, we're welcoming a guest that should have been on the podcast a long time ago. He's finally here. His name, David Williams, Crazy Dave. You know him from the band Killinger. You know him from all kinds of cool cover bands in the city, as well as his new Dokken tribute band. He's well known in Edmonton for his powerful voice, amazing performances, and he's finally here on Dope Nostalgia to talk about Dokken. Now, Dokken was primarily big in the 80s, but they did release music in the 90s, so we kind of tended to focus on that. Still, Dave has amazing stories to tell about his rock and roll stardom, as well as working with George Lynch on his own music. Cool interview. Let's get Crazy Dave on the show, but first, here's a little bit of background information on Dokken.
Wikipedia moments.
Please bear in mind that Wikipedia can be edited by anyone at any time. If I'm reading you the artist's bio, then you know it's information straight from the source.
Okay, I'm trying something a little new here. I actually am looking up the Dokken biography on Google AI just to see what happens, because the Wikipedia was a bit convoluted, lots of tedious information. I said, let's try this out. So here we go. Dokken is a hard rock heavy metal band formed in Los Angeles in 1978 by lead singer Don Dokken. The group's classic lineup featured Dokken, guitarist George Lynch, bassist Jeff Pilson, and drummer Mick Brown. After achieving mainstream success in the 1980s with albums like Tooth and Nail and Under Lock and Key, the band broke up in 1989 due to internal conflicts. Don Dokken pursued a solo career before reforming the band in the 90s. And since then, the lineup has seen several changes, with Don and Mick Brown being the only original members remaining. Now, you see, I think we might already have an inaccuracy just because of the fact that Crazy Dave did mention that Mick Brown wasn't performing anymore. So, clarification, you guys are big Dokken fans out there, give us a call at the hotline and let us know what you think. 1-888-741-9192. So straighten me out if I'm telling you a bunch of bullshit, okay? Basically. Don Dokken formed the band in Los Angeles in 78 after his previous group Airborne disbanded. Then they released their debut album, Breaking the Chains, in 1981. By the way, Breaking the Chains is the name of the Dokken tribute group that Crazy Dave is the frontman for. He'll be telling you a bit more about that later in the episode. Now, Dokken achieved mainstream success in the 80s with albums that featured singles like Alone Again, In My Dreams, and Burning Like a Flame. The band sold over 10 million albums worldwide and was nominated for a Grammy for its live album, Beast from the East. Internal conflicts involving drugs, egos, and creative differences led to the band's breakup in 89. So Don released a solo album, Up From the Ashes, in 1990. Then later down the road in the 90s, they reformed with the original guys for Dysfunctional. That album came out. It was pretty kick-ass, but over the years, the lineup keeps changing. The guys don't generally get along in most cases, but you know what? We'll tell you the story. There's going to be so much more coming up here. Give it up right now for our special guest today, all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This is Crazy Dave. I want to welcome a good friend of mine from over the years. He's been rocking all over North America, to be quite honest with you. And it's good to finally do a podcast with you, Dave. Dave Williams, Killinger Dave, Crazy Dave.
Hey, how you doing? Well, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's one thing that I can say right now, that my advantage over every other person that you have interviewed is I was your roommate for a while.
That's right.
Until you got the hell out of there, right? Fuck that guy.
No. No, I've been living in peace and quiet for the last 13 years.
You see, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Nah. Now, once you have your own place, you just kind of like the solitude. You know?
Yeah, I understand. Right?
Mhm.
I understand. I've got a place pretty much on my own, but yeah.
Sweet. And you got a couple roommates. As you have a couple cats, don't you?
Well, yeah, I got one roommate and 2 cats, and
Right.
cats are more difficult than the fucking roommate. So, right? You never know. You never know. You wake up at 7 in the morning, you hear, and you just like, oh man, I'm too tired to get up.
You're
All right,
running, or you're running to put
Yeah.
something down before it happens.
Yeah, or just pick them up off the carpet, right? They'd be right on the carpet, and then there's the hardwood. They can't be on the hardwood where it's easy to clean up. It's got to be right on the carpet or on the arm of the chair or on the corner of my bed.
Yep.
So lovely cat.
I hear you.
Mhm.
My cats might pop in from time to time. They like to interrupt.
Uh,
Anyways, yes. So you've been making music for years and years. I want to talk a bit about what you've been up to and your past experiences. Tell everybody about your history as a rocker.
well, I guess like everybody pays their dues, right? I had a number of years paying my dues, and it just so happens that I saw something happening way like years and years before it happened, was bringing in that 80s style, I guess hair metal, if you want to say it that way. I just call it damn good music. I don't like labeling too much. But I started this band called Rat Poison, and we became massively popular in Edmonton. And that was the catalyst that put me in the right place at the right time for the Killinger thing. And Killinger, we were signed to Sony. We had an incredible deal with them, and we got to do a couple tours. But some things, it's a contract. Things don't last forever, right? But I took all that experience and just moved forward. So yes, I played all across North America, played across Canada, played Australia. Edmonton Music Award winner. Been in numerous different magazines. Guitar World. Radio stations such as KNAC and a bunch of radio stations on the East Coast. We had a great team with us that really. I would say it was like a complete honor to you see like KNAC in old 80s magazines and stuff like that, and you ever got to hear the radio station or whatever because you're stuck up here in Alberta, right?
Before the internet, yes.
Yeah, and that thing with Killinger, all of a sudden opened up all those doors to do interviews with, such radio stations and stuff like that. So it was really good. So Killinger, like I said, it only lasted for, a moment in time, maybe a little bit longer, a few years. And after that, I took my ball. I didn't go home. I ran with it and ran all the way and played Australia. I did a couple of dates there and came back here and just continued on doing the music thing. But the music, I find, I love doing shows, right? But I find those shows aren't really lasting effect because it's always other people's cell phones and stuff like that, right? It's a moment in time and it's forgot. It's the next weekend, next band, and it just goes on and on like that. Mm-hmm. I started, reached out to a friend about possibly doing some independent movie stuff and some horror movies, right? Like, get killed in a horror movie, right? That sounds about right. So I got in that, and I'm now on independent movie number 6 now. So,
wow.
So there's Grotesque, which you can find it on Prime, you can find it on Amazon, you can find it on Tubi, you can find it on Plexi. Grotesque 1, Grotesque 2, and now just did a scene for Grotesque 3. I actually get stabbed in this one. First one, I had my balls cut off, and the and the main character, right, she uses my balls as golf balls, in the back of an alley. Whatever. I won't say much more than that. You guys can watch that. And this one, I actually get stabbed. So I think I actually die in this one. I'm not sure. Right. I mean, I did get stabbed. I was kind of like out, but I don't know if I died or not. So we'll see. If there's a Grotesque 4, I'll probably be back. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So doing those movies and stuff like that is kind of, I like to be able to cement, some of my, career and legacy in other places, right? And things that will last a long time, and doing movies, stuff like that was really good. And I just got the, unbelievable chance to work with Stephen Ogg from Walking Dead and from Grand Theft Auto 5. I did that with a place called Sea Change Brewery. And, I'm just waiting for the editing to happen and stuff like that. And that should be coming up here pretty quick, that where they start doing the promo for their bar and their beer brand, right? They got a bunch of different beers, and so they're expanding, and, they've already gone, and opened up a new place in Calgary.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think they're just trying to expand. I would gather through Western Canada and hopefully all of Canada and stuff like that. But this is a promo video that is going to, just help with, there's a cat, and it helped with, their business and stuff like that. So it was a real honor to hang out with him. And I'm telling you, man, when he walked on set, I felt like I was in Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Punch a hooker, steal a car, right? It was great to see him, and he was such a nice guy. And try to get him to smoke a joint. Like, hey, Steve, you want to hit off this? And he's like, oh no, I don't do that anymore, man. I'll tell you a story. I was in Paris, and I'm hanging out with Alice in Chains, and I'm hanging out with Lane Staley. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. And he had got some joints or pot from London, and he was smoking these things just one after the other, and just high as fuck. He couldn't talk to him. So he said he went and hung out with Jerry Cantrell, and there was a show that night. And then that night, Lane was still smoking right when he got up to the stage. And then when he got on the stage, he just sat cross-legged in the middle of the stage, with his monitors, and did the whole show, and they got Steven up on stage, which was, really cool and stuff like that. But, he said the reason why he doesn't go down that road with marijuana or anything like that is because of watching Lane Staley kind of going down the deep end right in front of him. Right? So I accepted that answer and was blown away. So we're like, wow.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to Sea Change. We love you guys. Sea Change Brewery.
Yeah. Sea Change is absolutely awesome. And they got some great beer there. And there's even one where I'd be like, yeah, I'm drinking this all the time. And I think it's called Spuds, Spudz, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that one. And it kind of, to me, it's kind of like a lighter, cleaner, crisp beer, like a Budweiser or the Busch, right? Oh, product placement, right?
The
product
lager.
placement. Yeah. So the lager. And, yeah, so that's a great beer and great company, great guys. They have a great staff at that place, and so it was a thrill to be able to do that, and a mind blow to be able to work with Steven. It was, quite. I was still kind of like, wow, I actually did that. So, as soon as I did that, like my feed and my YouTube, it's nothing but Grand Theft Auto stuff and my usual stuff, right? A Kiss concert, Grand Theft Auto. Oh, this,
Your
Trump.
algorithms.
Yeah. My algorithm, is it's still, all about fucking Grand Theft Auto 5, which is really cool because I love that game, man. I was waiting for that thing to come out. And when it came out, I was one of the first ones to make sure I got it, right? Just to play the game. And right. And Steven's character in there, Trevor, is a real character, right? And seeing Steve, such a nice, mild-mannered guy, but hair all slicked back, but all he has to do is just take his hands and it's instant Trevor. Like that shit, like, wow, it's crazy that, meeting people like that, and they're just so incredibly nice and so, like, forthcoming with wanting to talk to you and interested. I mean, I had a great conversation with him that lasted for a bit in between takes, right? And he was just like, man, I want to learn about you. You're the Killinger. What? You got music out? I'm like, yeah, there's the tattoo right there. You see the video and everyone's like, wow, dude, I'll check it out. So, I haven't been able to reach him yet. He's a busy guy, but he was born here, I guess, and lives in Calgary. He's got parents or family that's in Calgary. So he comes up once in a while and hangs out. So we were just able to snag him, or Sea Change was able to snag him for that promo video shoot. And, and the rest will be history as soon as it comes out. Won't be long now.
You had an amazing amount of experiences in your career, so this is really cool. I mean, one of the things too that brought us into talking about the artist we're talking today, there's two factors to this. One is the George Lynch connection, right?
Right. Okay.
And the other one being the fact that you are the frontman of a Dokken tribute.
Yes. All right. So I'll tell you how the George Lynch came along. As we started recording the album, we were having we had bought some brand new equipment, brand new board and stuff like that. And the guitar player was for the first few days that we're in the studio, right? We're setting everything up. I set up nice like $8,000 like electric drum set, and got that all ready and got ready for anybody and we're going to start recording. Now it's just a matter of him trying to figure out the board, right? Which now became a few days of him just sitting there reading and me sitting on the couch, watching TV and drinking beer and getting hammered. And it's like, okay, well, we're done for the day. I'm like, we haven't done anything. Well, not yet. Right? So he says, the work here is, maybe a little bit harder than I expected. I just need a release. Why don't we go to Calgary and see Twisted Sister? I'm like, sure. So when we went to the show that night, I ran into Chris Chalice, right, who became the drummer. And because the studio drums were played by Pete Holmes, who's in Black and Blue, right? And we ran into the producer, Rick Plester, who's no slouch himself. He's a Guitar Wars champion, and he's one hell of a goalie that was actually playing for the Texas Stars, the farm team for the Dallas Stars, right? And so he's a really talented individual himself, and he's the one that has worked with Michael Schenker, has worked with a number of different people, but he always kind of had George in his back pocket for things. And so what we wanted to do was try to get the most eyes on the album that we could by bringing in other talents and stuff like that. And we reached out to everybody, man. Jakey Lee, Zach Wild, right? Even Brad Gillis, right? From Night Ranger. We're just trying for everybody, and nobody is really biting. But George said, "Yeah, okay, send me money, send me this amount, and let's do it." And so we sent him the song. He sent it back, and wow, lo and behold, the song is called "Never Change." You'll find it Killinger, "Never Change." You'll find it like on YouTube. I think it's under. You have to find the one that's the actual, not the live version, because we don't do any shows with him live. So it would be the studio version, and you get to hear George. It's a hell of a solo. Hell of a solo. So that's how George Lynch came to be and exists now in this thing that I'm doing. And there's a kind of an upsurge of people wanting to do tribute bands, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do something unless I could do something, somewhat legitimate, right? Just for me, right? So I can really get behind it mentally. And it was like, well, do a Dokken tribute. I've got a really clean voice, so does, Don Dokken. I can, imitate his voice well enough, and that I think that I could, really pull this off and do it justice. And because I have George Lynch on my album from Killinger, then, it just seemed right for me to do that. And, and I haven't looked back, I'm still doing shows. I got another one coming up here in about 3 weeks, and doing another show, doing it with a Motley Crue tribute band. Cool. And which is kind of cool because, my old drummer, Chris Chalice, who played with us at Killinger, he's in the Motley Crue and I'm in the Dokken thing. So,
oh, wonderful.
It's cool to run into him, every now and then, right? Doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
So we with that Killinger thing, like just the way things ended, and a lot of we felt there is like we were up for like 3 albums with Sony, right? And we were writing for the second album, and just the guitar player situation wasn't perfect. I'd like to say his situation of what he did made it a real shitty time for him to make decisions after the couple tours financially. And so the band folded. So Chris and I got together, she's, I don't know, 8 months ago, and put together the Toxic Twins of Killinger. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're just like, we put together, but that band is going to be like an opening band for bigger bands. And like maybe, like some of the artists that you have on, maybe if Slick Toxic gets back together, Sven Galley is together. So hopefully they're coming down here, and there's a little bird chirping in my ear, but that they're coming to Western Canada. So maybe that might work out to where we get to do a few shows opening up for Sven Galley and being able to do that thing. So that with George Lynch and everything, like I said, Pete Holmes from Black and Blue on the drums, and he has since passed, but Bill Bourne, Juno Award winner, came in and did some background vocals and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to have some people like, we wanted more, but when we got George, I'm like, that's good enough for me. I'm good there. Right. I'm good there. George.
That's pretty much a dream come true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because at 16 years old, right, I'm listening to Dokken and all that stuff. And then when Back for the Attack came out, right, and I just read this blurb in this magazine, it goes, oh, yeah, I've been practicing like a demon. And that just gave me shivers. I'm like, oh, my God, what's it going to sound like, right? And you put it on and your hair's back and like, wow, what a fucking album, right? Back for Attack, man. There's no filler on that album, man. Just killer stuff. So
were you 16 then when you discovered Dokken? Or was it before that?
I would say, maybe 14, in around there. I mean, because it all came flooding in. As soon as it was Motley Crue, then became Cinderella, it became, everybody, it became Dokken and all those bands. So just being me at that time, trying to be a guitar player, right? Listening to the Dokken, I think, oh, maybe this is my chance here to maybe turn into a singer, because I can't really do that like he does, right? And that's going to take me a lifetime. And I just started studying my voice, and my voice went boom through the roof. And so I left it at that. I play guitar here and there, but not nowhere near at that level by any means. So, but
that was basically your introduction to the band. How did you discover them, and what appealed about Dokken to you the most?
Because of some of the bands that I listened to in the 70s, like I listened to really clean singers, right? Like Triumph, Prism, Trooper, Loverboy, right? Really clean singers, even like Queen City Kids, right? No man dance, right? A very clean singer, and that's where I started. I started on a Striper sort of sticks type thing, and then started shaping my voice using different sort of tonalities. Like I went to Scorpions, I went to Skid Row and stuff like that. But I just kind of mainly stayed on the clean. And then, hearing all these singers, and then hearing Dokken, right? Great voice, great clean voice. And then, the songs are just amazing. And then, Jesus, George Lynch, right? So freaking God, right? Nobody plays like him. Right? So it was just to listen to his roller coaster ride of solos, right? You'd listen to a solo and unbuckle. It seemed like you'd unbuckle from it, like, whoa, and now you got the rest of the song to deal with, right? So that was just something that reverberated with me being the clean type singer and Don's voice, right? But the music was just so in your face and hard hitting, well produced stuff, right? Greatly written songs. And George, like I said, is just a fucking monster on guitar. So yeah.
It's funny for me, it was like the first reason I'd heard of them was really funny, because it was actually, there was a group called The Party that was like based off from the Mickey Mouse Club in the very early 90s, who covered In My Dreams.
I was going to say In My Dreams, was it? Yeah.
That's how I learned about Dokken. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's wild, because I did hear, like, after a while there was, like, in the 90s there was some dance version, and I think maybe that is it, right?
That's the one.
That's the one. And I heard, I'm like, wow. Wow, dance version. But to me, like, then I was like, how dare you fucking bastardize this song? But now it's like, right now it's like, oh, you guys are going to do a dance version of it? I want to hear it. Like, I want to see, like, pack the dance floor. God damn it. Let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
So, anything to turn on people, because this is the thing about doing Dokken up here in Alberta or in Canada. You have to really go to huge major markets like Toronto to really find a good number of Dokken fans, right? You don't really see them here. And it's not that Dokken isn't huge. They just weren't pushed on the Canada side of the border, not not as much per se like Def Leppard, Poison, Motley Crue, Kiss, that sort of thing, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, right? They're kind of like lower established bands. I'm like, oh no, they're not. You might want to take a trip to the USA and see how big these guys are, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a different perspective, from USA to Canada. So
no, we're getting them in the magazines. That's how we would discover a lot of them, like Metal Edge magazine and Circus and all those, Hit Parader. That's how we would find a lot of bands and then listen to the music up here.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're in those magazines, you're listening to them because it was like a Bible, right? Yeah, I love Circus, Hit Parader, and stuff like that, Metal Edge, and all that. I still have a bunch of those magazines, massive collector, right? I probably got I'll say about 300 magazines. Yeah. There's a lot of shit in my apartment. A lot of shit, right? A lot of stuff that I collected.
That's stuff I wish I'd hung on to,
Oh man, I've got stuff from my second gig ever, right? So I've got my whole history basically of when I first started and everything, videos and this and that, and doing commercials here or there, getting with the radio station here in Edmonton, 100.3 The Bear, and and doing a few years with them. One of the DJs on there, Yukon Jack. Hey, Yukon. He asked me straight out of the gate, like, Dokken, are you freaking crazy? But I'm like, for me, it was like, I get a chance to show people this music that they've been missing. And then I get a chance to change them over during that one set. They kind of turn into Dokken fans after that. And when I was doing my first few shows, I would ask everybody, is anybody here ever heard of Dokken? And barely a hand would go up. And I said, does anybody here even know what the fuck we're playing? And a bunch of hands would go up, right? So it just, the hands start going, the scale start to tip the other way. Is now when I say, is that how many people have heard of Dokken? Because the shows that we're doing, a lot of hands go up now, a lot of hands. Barely anybody says, I've never heard of this shit before, right? So it's really cool. And because the music's not so well known here, you have to find like dedicated fans, really, like, oh, I know every song note for note. They're far and few between. So if you make a mistake on stage, nobody notices.
Oh no, that's so true.
Nobody knows the songs well enough.
Make it your own, and they wouldn't know.
Yeah, you fucked up. No, we didn't. So it's but it really is a pleasure to be able to introduce that music and turn people, right. I've done shows where we'd open the show and have a couple of the bands, and the bands the next day would be traveling back to their hometown and putting in Dokken, like, we got to listen to Dokken. That was so fucking awesome. So for me, it's like anything that I can help in that sort of being middleman to get them there, right, and start buying some stuff or just become fans. Is like, hey, man, this is all a part of it. Just because they weren't per se big here doesn't mean they're not big at all, right? So
does Don Dokken know about your band yet?
I don't think he does, but George sure does. But, George and his wife, Danica, they definitely know about this. But George is really like, he's a workhorse, right? He's a workhorse. He's playing in this project, that project, this project, Lynch Mob, doing appearances with Dokken and going out and starting a different project with this person. He did a project with Michael Sweet from Stryper, right? So, just a bunch of different bunch of things that he does. So it's really hard to get a hold of the guy. So if I have to talk to George, I talk to his wife. Right? she answers back, right? So
well, speaking of Don Dokken, of course, the leader, I guess the only parallel to Bon Jovi is here's a band with a lead singer's name.
Yeah.
But then it's like, who's really in charge here? But Don Dokken has this ability to have like a very almost R&B tone to his voice as well. Like he's got more pop and R&B sensibility than a lot of rock singers, right?
Yeah, I think that comes up from your upbringing, right? You can almost turn that into like David Lee Roth. Is he a big fucking? No, he's not that. He's like he's that comes from the stuff that he was listening to, the big band and sort of a lot of fucking black singers and stuff. And then you really hear, once you hear him tell all that, then you go, okay, I get it. Yeah, Big Bad Bill is sweet William now, right? Like all that sort of stuff. Like, you see where it's now come from, right? And how he's molded that and took it, put it in Van Halen. I think I would say, most likely it's the same thing for him, is that there's a certain sort of thing that he's grown up on and taken a bit of that and put it into his music where he can. Mm-hmm. And Don is definitely, he's the man, right? He's the guy. He's the shot caller, right? So, but I mean, Dokken, before Dokken was Dokken, he was playing with Warren DeMartini. He was playing with Bobby Blotzer and playing with Warren Juan Crochet, which is all from Rat. And so some other guys made the decision, Warren, Bobby, okay, we're going to stick with Rat. And for a bit, Warren was jumping from band to band, and Bobby is like, man, you got to make a decision here, right? And so he did make the decision just, to go with Rat. And then Rat found themselves a very capable bass player in Jeff Pilson, right? And Jeff Pilson has gone on to do a number of different projects, but he's currently playing with Foreigner right now. And he's been playing with Foreigner for quite a few years now, quite a few.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've started saying it already, but if we could do some kind of because this is a 90s podcast and we usually focus on that era, we still need a brief history, right? Of how we got to the 90s and what they did in that era. So,
well, there's the history is, it kind of shatters, right? Because in the 80s, big party, big hair, right? Let's get drunk, say fuck it, go to work hungover, whatever the hell it was, right? And then that good time just kind of really evaporated because the change in the scene was like that. And then it became Seattle. And then all these bands start pointing the finger at the 80s bands. Oh, you guys are fucking whatever the name you want to use, right? Look at these guys with the earrings and the makeup and all that sort of shit, right? And, everybody was like the scene blew up, and what was left on people was a lumberjacket and some torn jeans. Right. And let's just do 3-4 chord music again. Bam, 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 bam. Right. And once Nirvana hit, right, everybody was trying to jump on board. Right. And, trying to get on that because, music business, right, is not dictated by the artists. They dictate the music. Right. And so if they want a change, they're going to do a change and start pulling up artists like, And it's not going to trash on Taylor Swift. But Taylor, there's a lot of girls in America that can sing like you, right? But you were just kind of chosen to be that person. Now, hands off to you, right? But you're not the only person, right? And that's where I like to always give credit to people that haven't made that sort of thing. It was the same with Killinger. We're in that. It's like a claw machine, right? And there's a bunch of different bands in there. And this is the record company, right? And we pick it up. Right. And pick you up. And now everybody sees you. But now if you can move it over and drop into the, the prize box, right, that's where you start getting into the $20 million club and stuff like that. And you have massive backing for your tours and stuff like that, because the record company knows that they're going to get it all back and then some. Right. So, but like it was, it became hard for anybody. I noticed myself, like I had to jump into it too. I'm like, well, I sing Skid Row. Can you sing Pearl Jam? Oh shit, I know. I could try, but it's not really my voice, right? So that's, and then country music came up too, right? And country bars were replacing, rock bars like poof, 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 poof. They were everywhere. And country music went through the roof, and Garth Brooks was like, he's cornered the market. Shania Twain cornered the market. And it became really difficult. So you had to, like, it wasn't going to happen here if you're going to do anything. And especially with Killinger doing our throwback, we couldn't do that stuff here. We had to go to a bigger demographic where we could find pockets of thousands of people that still do that, right? But it's a lot of travel. You have to travel the entire continental of the United States to find these places, right?
But touring the States makes more sense because of the geographical closeness of each city and the overall population.
Yes. And so population, if you got 50 million people here, you got 300 million. And so you're just going to find a lot more people that like that music, right? And so hence those festivals started coming up, and big M3 festival, Rocklahoma, Rock on the Range, that sort of stuff. And then the cruises started, right? 80s cruises and all that sort of stuff. And then some 90s cruises, which I think you've been a part of.
Kind of, yeah. New kids cruises.
Yeah, New Kids cruises and being mentioned by the band. I mean, I saw that like, wow, Naomi,
Donnie,
wow.
shout out the podcast.
Yeah.
Love you, Donnie. Thank you.
Yeah, Donnie.
Yeah.
And, to me, I mean, that was just amazing. I was seeing you being able to take an idea, and then now, like your list of people is like, it's staggering the amount of people that you've been, and the great names that you've had. So
it's hard to believe, honestly.
It is. Yeah. And for me now to be in that roster, I'm fucking honored. Right? I
Welcome
really am.
to this club.
Yeah. Right said Fred, Tiffany, Crazy Dave. Yeah, it's awesome. So, the 90s, like I said, it kind of broke a lot of bands. A lot of bands had to refigure themselves out, right? And see if they were going to try to jump on board. Some did and failed miserably, right? Because it was still that band. And, I mean, Kiss even tried to do something and getting a little bit more edgy and stuff like that with Carnival of Souls, right? But that didn't come out because of the reunion and stuff like that. And that's, it's sad, but that didn't come out because I consider a pretty good album, right? Considering that they went a certain direction to sound a certain way and still sound like Kiss, but it just, it was not the usual shout it out loud or, something like that, lick it up. So they tried, and you saw a lot of bands trying. And I think what goes around comes around, right? So it just took some time for everybody to, and then realize that, you know what? I really like listening to, Same Old Situation by Motley Crue. That thing gives me more than some of this stuff that's out there. I need that. And everybody's running back to the 80s. To me, it's no problem, right? I haven't left the 80s, right? Nor do I have.
It's not nostalgia for you. It's just what you've always loved.
Yeah, that's why, hey, you're dressing up as on Halloween? I'm like, I dress up every time I play or I go out. Like Halloween doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. People dress up as me in Halloween now, right? Sort of thing. So, but having people come back to that, and it's with the 90s too, is everybody's coming back and and seeing Sir Mix-a-Lot or and really. I know when I was DJing, when I wasn't working, I could play, Pitbull and I could play Kesha and stuff like that. But man, I like big butts and I cannot lie, right? As soon as you put that, the place explodes, right? So, the 90s, it's just going, people love evolution, but they're always going to come back to where their home is, right? So, and re-celebrate that sort of stuff. And now a bunch of 90s artists, 80s artists are getting a great response and lots of shows because everybody has gone back and say, I think I need that in my life again, right? And so a lot of people are doing really well and cashing in on, on their fame from the 80s and doing it again through the 90s, 2000, and right up here to 2025 into 2026. The bands are still out there.
There's fantastic tours. There's fantastic Vegas residencies. There's just like
the festivals are just incredible, like in the cruise ships, right, where you get to see a number of those bands, which is to me, I'd be like a pig in shit, right? Like, wow, fucking, this would be great to hang out with these people, not people. And I get some, I see some Canadian bands are getting the rub and getting on those 80s cruises too, which is, for me, like, my good friends in Killer Dwarves, right? Those guys, right, they're on there. My buddies from Honeymoon Suite, they're doing that sort of stuff too. Loverboy is all over the place, right? Festivals everywhere, and they do really, really well. So,
Glass
it's like
Tiger.
Glass Tiger. Yeah. I remember doing security for them once, and some girl ran up on the stage and just got by me and just went like this, and I was just able to grab her arm and spin her around and boom. And sorry, I'm forgetting his name right now. Singer.
Alan Frew.
Al, right? Yeah. So Al, he looks at me and goes, whew, that was close. sorry, bro. Right? Crazy, wah! Want to, kiss and hug them or whatever. But those, I think, those bands, seeing them get recognition again and start to, like, I even saw like Haywire is starting back up and doing some shows and stuff like that. And I love that, man. I love seeing those bands get back together. I don't care what they look like anymore. Hey, we've all gotten older. Some people can't hold on to their hair. I'm like, knock on wood, I still got this much, right? It's thinning, but I, knock on wood. But
Still
some
doing
people,
good.
some people are just bald and like, I don't care, man. Get out here and sing it for me. I just want to see you. I don't care what form you're in. Like, let me see you. Let me hear that music again. Let me hear you sing it. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear the guitar. Those songs. So I really appreciate seeing all those bands being able to get up and do it again. And it's the same with the 90s bands too, right? Being able to, like, 15, 20 years later, being able to get up and be, not just going, it's not a novelty, right? People are remembering this stuff and having super genuine feelings about this music, and they just forget, because you get caught up in the tidal wave of, record companies pushing this on you, pushing that on you, pushing this on you, right? And that's what it is. It's like, hey, this is a hit. Well, it's good, but we're going to make it a hit by, and we're going to pound it from coast to coast, right? Like with Nickelback, right? That one song, How You Remind Me. There's a part of a few months where you could not, in the continental United States, that song was playing somewhere. There was never ever like a 1 second where you'd hear nothing and then the song would start. They'd be overlapping, right? Or being played at the same time all over the United States, right? So the push is the push. And I mean, it's good when you get it, kind of sucks when you don't, right? But you get to see, being inside the business, man. I've seen kind of how it works and stuff like that. Some of it was, great. Some of it was a big turnoff, but such is business, right? You got to understand, if you're going to buy the farm, you're going to step in shit, right? So just understand that, right?
It's there.
It's there, right?
Now, of course, we mentioned the fact that it's hard to tour a country like Canada for those reasons. And I don't know how often Dokken or Lynch Mob even made it to tour Canada. Have you ever had a chance to see them live, either of them?
We brought them up here in 2010. We brought Lynch Mob, and the band wasn't like the original Lynch Mob band. Of course, there was George Lynch, but singing was Mark Torian from the Bullet Boys. Playing bass was James Lomenzo, right? And he's played in White Lion. He's played with Zakk Wylde. He's played with Megadeth, right? And the drummer is Brian Tichy, who's played with Billy Idol. And, Brian, right?
Yeah.
He crazy motherfucker, right? And he's played with a bunch of great big bands and stuff like that. He's playing with Dead Daisies also, with John Corabi from Motley Crue. He's playing Dead Daisies, doing some tours with them and stuff. So it's a little bit of a different band. I tell you this, man, when I saw Mark, we were dressed exactly the same. He had on a black vest. I had on a black vest. He had on black tight jeans. I had on black tight jeans. He had a studded belt. I had a studded belt. He had black and white chucks. I had black and white chucks. And I'm just like, he came on. I'm like, swear to God, man, this is just coincidence, bro. I'm not trying to steal your look or anything. It just so happened that we dressed the same that day. It's,
that's funny.
Kind of funny, yeah. And having those guys come up here and being able to do just a couple shows. We just did Edmonton and Calgary. It was cool to be able to get them up here to be able to do that and have them back up here. They don't like as in a Dokken show here, man. Like that's right. You'd have to go Googling, right? Because it's not like, when's the last time Def Leppard was here? Oh, well, fucking last year or whatever, or, in the summertime, right? You can always recall or stuff like that. But, it's like I say, it's nice to see all these bands get another go at it, another paycheck, in this day and age, and, with the 90s guys too, right? I mean, everybody that loved New Kids on the Block when they're 16 are now probably 36, right?
Maybe let's say 46. Actually, it's been a little longer than we thought.
Yeah, okay. But the love is still there, right? And the excitement is still there. And to be in the same room with them or be able to shake and get a conversation with them, like that's a mind blow, right?
Yeah.
Mind blow, right? So
and when you meet these folks, right, like that you idolized growing up, it's really crazy to say to yourself, oh my goodness, like little young Dave would be so like, holy shit, this is exciting, right? Like little Naomi freaking out, talking, having a conversation with Donnie Wahlberg, like what the hell, right?
Yeah. And that's
cool.
Yeah, it is very, very fucking cool, right? And I mean, I've met quite a few people, and I've got stories from hell and stuff like that. And I saw that you had some bands on there, and I'm like, oh man, I got some stories about them, man, but I can't talk about them on this podcast. It's a little risque.
You will be censored immediately.
Yes, censored, demonetized, and booted.
There goes my YouTube channel.
Yeah, so we'll keep it clean here, right? So
fair enough.
But like I said, I've met a lot of these people, and some of these people in the '90s too. Like meeting Ace Frehley in '90s. Well, it was just '90, I guess 2000, right? Meeting Ace Frehley and him asking me like, "Hey, get me some girls," right? And I'm like, "What? You want me to get you some girls?" Like hanging out, having drinks with him, and he's like, get me some girls. So I'm running around to different tables and, is that the guy with the star? All right, next. All right. Is that the guy with the tongue? No, I like kitty cats, right? Not that's couldn't find anybody, right? Running around. I was running out onto the street trying to find girls. Like nobody was getting it. I'm like, they're playing here tomorrow. Damn it. How can not, but I was just in maybe a wrong part of the city or wrong bar for people to really recognize that. But, Ace was cool about, pat me on. Hey, thanks, Curly. I see you later. And that was, I almost got Ace laid. I was that close, right? If I could have found some girls, I probably would have quit my job right there because I was DJing at a bar, right? So I'm playing music for him, right? And not the usual bar music, which is kind of 90s, 2000 dance, right? Like, what the hell are you playing this for? Why are you playing this? And I'm like, well, because of this guy over here. Who's that? Ace fucking Frehley. Oh, okay. I'll go get him some drinks. I was like, I already got the drinks for him, man. Don't worry, right? Okay, he's already taken care of, right? And so, right, I mean, if I would have gotten some girls, right? He is like, hey, what are you doing? I'm quitting my job. Let's go party, bro. And I probably would have got my job back. They probably would have understood, right? You don't get a chance to go hang out with rock stars very often. And
one of your idols, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, not like I was getting paid a fucking king's ransom at this fucking DJ job. So,
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hello, listeners. It has been such an experience doing this show for the last 5+ years, but it gets expensive. If you didn't know, there's a lot of costs that go into making a podcast. That's why we have our Patreon page, patreon.com/dope nostalgia. That's where you can go and subscribe, get all the extra details, bonus videos, and early podcast release for as little as $1 a month. Please subscribe today and help support one of your favorite podcasts.
Hi, this is Desmond Child, and you're listening to Dope Nostalgia.
All right, let's set the scene. It's 2017. You are pushing 30 years old and have just watched the finale of Pretty Little Liars. You're wearing your feathered earrings and your red coat, and you swore you'd never watch this show again.
Countless hours spent on message boards researching conspiracies. Time you will never get back.
Okay, so fast forward to 2023, and you call yourself a teen drama aficionado. Just finished a podcast dissecting every salacious episode of Gossip Girl, and you're looking for something to fill the void. Your listeners begged you for years, yes, years, to cover Pretty Little Liars on your podcast network, and for once, you're considering it. Hell, you're geared to do it, making you, well, a liar.
Liars. At last, We Are Liars podcast was born. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
And we're Total Betty Podcast Network, and we recap every single episode, spoiler-free, of Pretty Little Liars ad nauseum. Every exaggerated gasp, inappropriate relationship, and altogether fantasy this show holds.
Listen every Wednesday to We Are Liars as I, Liz, the veteran, and Michelle Newby talk spoiler-free about the wildness that is Pretty Little Liars.
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Okay, we have to go back to Dokken now. We have to. Okay. So yes, like when we're talking about the progression from 80s to 90s Dokken, what I understood is that this band really never got along.
Well, there's certain contributing factors that happen within that, aside from creative, right? There's people drinking, right? People doing coke, right? Crazy amounts of coke, right? And that's going to alter your behavior and how you handle things and how you perceive things. Now, the video for Dream Warriors, everybody was on coke on that one, right? And they're doing lines like Freddie has got the long blades on this. The band were doing lines off his glove, off the blades of his glove. I'm
like the Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you could even see in the video where there's a couple times where George is trying to be, and he ends up smiling a little bit because he couldn't stop laughing right throughout the whole, the video. He's trying to break through some wall. They had to do it a few times because he had just fucking kill himself laughing, trying to get through this because it was just, he was so clumsily fucking fucked up trying to get through this wall. And you could see him pounce through and try to be doing that, right? And so they did. I mean, there's a lot of things that that would happen in the studio, and thinking I'm sure the guys thought the music was going to be some way, and then when they're gone for the weekend, Don would come in and put his Don Dokken on it and soften things a little bit, or shorten a solo, or retake a solo, or something like that. So that I guess would pick people's asses, right? But it's they're just they're just trying to really please the record company, because when they did their first album, wasn't really selling, and and we need another chance. So Don really begged the record company for another chance, and then they put out Tooth and Nail, and then things started going up, right? And when they had their power ballad hit, Alone Again, that really helped because everybody was doing the power ballads, getting on that thing, right? Home Sweet Home. I mean, the first real power ballad I could say would be Beth, right, from Kiss. That'd be like the first kind of power ballad, and everybody jumped on board, right? And now Warrant and whoever and Cinderella and all those bands started jumping on the thing, and of course Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home, right? They got so that catapulted them into the next phase where they get, now the money's going to happen and stuff like that. And as much as that happened and stuff like that, Don did really good with his finances and business. He's but it's for Don to go on interviews and say, "Oh, well, George is a cokehead," and yada, like, Don, you were right there too. Now, maybe you might not have been as extravagant as them, or maybe you weren't as big as a gambler with them and stuff like that. But, dude, you're in the business. I know better, right? I know better. The only person that I know that hasn't done any freaking drugs in a rock band, I don't know anybody. Even Gene Simmons claims, like, I've never done any drugs. Yeah, until fucking Ace and Peter fed you some fucking hash brownies or some pot brownies, right?
Some
to trick you. Yeah,
if I didn't smoke it or inhale it, it's not drugs.
It's not drugs. So and he's got a sweet tooth. Like, here, have this fucking brownie. Like, oh fuck yeah. That's he's fucking twisted sideways. What the fuck is going on? So but he doesn't readily do them, right? He got tricked into that. So Gene Simmons would probably be the only person that I know that doesn't do that sort of stuff. And but that sort of stuff, I mean, like any sort of drinking and stuff like that, if you're an angry drunk or you're opinionated drunk, or that's going to fucking rub people wrong, and you're going to have some infighting, right? But because of your contract, and everybody's tied to the contract, you gotta maintain some sort of level of decorum, right? And you have to have some sort of peace. Now, if you need a different dressing room, we'll get that done. But it's a juggernaut here. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not millions of dollars are being spent on this tour, right? You gotta fucking smarten up, right? And that's were they as bad as Motley Crue? Well, I don't know, but I know Motley Crue was like. But at that part, I didn't really realize, but we're kind of like celebrating drug addicts and alcoholics and not really knowing, right? And yeah. And I became synonymous with Jack Daniels because of fucking Motley Crue. I thought that was the thing. If you're going to you're going to have some Jack Daniels. Now, as of today, and last year and the years before and years to come, I dread going out to the bar because everybody knows that I'm about Jack Daniels. So I'm getting shooter here.
A bottle of Bud and a shot of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, bottle of Bud, shot of Jack Daniels. That's my that's my entrance, right? Yeah. But when people, Crazy Days here, let me get you a shot. Let me get you a shot. Let me get you a shot. You can be 7, 8 shots in, but even before the band starts, right? I've been like 4 or 5 shots in even before I started, right? Oh my God, let's just stop it right there. I'm right at the good level, man. Anything more, and I'm going to be slurring and wiping out.
It's like your birthday every day.
Damn right.
You walk into the bar.
Yeah, and so and that was just by fluke that happened, right? But now it's like it's just a slight burden. I don't mind free booze, and I'm not telling anybody to stop. I'm just saying. If I say no, it's not because I'm saying no. I'm saying not just yet. Give me 5 or 10. I just had one. Right. I'll do one with you because I don't ever, if somebody takes the time and takes, their time to buy me a drink, right? They're taking, money that they've went out and earned and stuff like that. And to show me something, I'm always going to have a drink with you, within reason, right? And we got to keep somewhat sober here. We're in public, right? So, I used to get hammered all the time and just be a fucking fool, out on the street. But then, I started realizing I'm starting to emulate parts of bands that I don't like emulating, right?
It
and start
feel
coming
good
down
after a while either.
Right.
It just doesn't feel good anymore. And then you start feeling like you're having trouble with different facilities of your body. Like it's not great.
Yeah. Can't go fucking, hey! And then all of a sudden I just shit my pants, right? So, right, yeah. So, right, you just have to keep control of, of your intake. And I've done that. I'm still here, right?
You're still here.
Fucking still here, and still fucking my voice has not changed. If something, maybe it's gotten better, but that's really for other people to decide. And I can't fucking proclaim I'm the king of England, because that doesn't really mean shit, right?
But you can tell how it feels when you do the vocals, that like, okay, I feel like I'm in peak form. I feel good, right?
Yeah.
So that's true.
Right. And well, having a handle on your voice and being able to call it up anytime, that just comes through pure determination and practice, and rinse and repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, and just going over and over. And your voice is, like being a muscle, right? Like right now, my voice, I can kind of consider it like how's your voice? How's it doing? It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 90s, right? Right? I'll be back, right? I still hit all those notes and even higher now. Like I've gained another register up, right? Gained another octave up. So I'm working on getting 6. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I've got a solid
Mariah.
Yeah.
Whistle register.
Yeah. I get high, but not that high. And it's okay. I live in an apartment, so it's not like all the dogs are going to be coming on my front lawn while I'm trying to fucking practice that shit. But the voice has always stayed. And that's, I want to say some of the influence, I've had to decipher what this influence is. And then, is it right for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And man, if you've got, if you can go on tour and you check yourself a fucking Betty Ford fucking bed at the end of the tour, people can do that, right? A lot of people can't. And that's the thing about going on tour is a lot of artists, you're at that peak experience, when you're on the road and everything, and you turn into your own bubble. Once that's done, it's really hard for some people just to realize, like, hey, take it easy, right? Your body needs to. Some people are like, oh, I need that experience all the time, and they don't know how to get it, from being on stage, and they, end up taking on, hard alcohol and a lot of drugs, or going intravenous, which to me is like, that's you're getting into
that's just putting a death sentence in like a short amount of time.
Yeah, a real dark place in that alley, right? And a lot of people don't make it out, and they don't make it out the same. Right. Some people still have their wits about them. Some people are still able to get out and play, but you can see that the torture that they've done to their body is still, and I don't want to by any means say that, anything negative about Steven Adler, but you could just see his mouth, that he's been doing that for years and years, and his mouth is, it's like he's still tripping on something, right?
Oh.
His mouth doesn't settle down like that. So that's from him doing his heroin or whatever exactly it was. And, you just see some people that just didn't make it out, and or just, health reasons of, everybody's got a different makeup of their body. We're all the same. We're all human, but some things, affect some people differently, and a little bit harsher sentence, that they get with certain things. And some people are able to get through it. Like, you tell me right now, why the fuck hasn't anything happened to the fucking Rolling Stones? Right? Right, those motherfuckers out there 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, like they're still out there. Like, how the hell is Mick Jagger? Yeah, and he's still fucking lively as fuck on stage. Holy shit. I see that stuff and I'm feeling a little bit down, or I slept wrong and my back is like, oh, there's no way. Look at these guys. There's no excuses, right? No excuses. Yeah,
money.
Yeah. Well, money. Yeah. I mean, that helps, right? Like to pay the rent.
They have all the best doctors and everything at their fingertips. So I think that helps a lot.
Absolutely. So
we got to go back to the 90s here in Dokken, because I want to ask you, of the albums, they released 3 albums in that decade? 93?
Well, yeah, Dokken, but there's a bit of member changes, right? So I got it right here. I just want to make sure I get so they got John Norum in from Europe, Final Countdown guy, right? And so they got him, they put out an album called Up From the Ashes, right? And and that's where George Lynch and Mick Brown from Dokken, they went on to form Lynch Mob. So Jeff Pilson, he formed War and Peace, and and played with Dio for some stuff too. So there was some albums that came out, but Don did okay. He did good in Europe. And stuff like that, but it just wasn't, people kind of like, yeah, but we kind of need George Lynch. We kind of need the band, right? Yeah. So he's only going to get up to a certain level. And so the projects that he was doing, weren't, stellar, sort of shit, but creating music is what he does, right? So if you can find a hit in there, sure. If not, but he's always going to be able to tour because his fucking last name is Dokken, right? So everybody knows, and they want to see him. And I know Don is not the singer that he once was. He does everything at a very low register. But me, I take my hat off to any guy of all the medical shit that he's been through to still be able to get up there and give you something, right? Yeah. So I know, like, oh, he sounds rough. He sounds this. Oh, you sing everything really low. I'm like, but he's out there.
Yeah.
You got to remember, he's fucking out there and he's got to travel there and everything that goes on with the travel. It does take a little bit out of you, right? When you're young, you don't really feel it. When you're older, it gets a little monotonous, right? Here, that, soundcheck, hotel, this, that, bus, this, everything the same day. That could, somebody getting up in age, that does take a bit of a toll. And so,
look at my dude, John Bon Jovi, man. He atrophied a vocal cord. Had to have surgery.
Until he did, right?
He did have the surgery. Yeah. I think it's been a couple years since the surgery went down, and he's just now starting to do live shows again.
Yeah, and I saw Richie is back in the fold now.
No, he's not.
I saw that.
He's not. He's
really?
Not. They got together to do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. That was it. No, it's still Phil X right now.
Yeah, well, that's too bad because
I'm hoping that changes before the end, before retirement, but I don't know.
Well, you can cash in another big time, right? Because you got John and Richie in there, and if you can get everybody back together. I just know, when I met Richie and the conversation with him about Bon Jovi and just it's a juggernaut, right? It's like, and it's about John. Right. Yeah. And regardless of what I put in, it was about John. And he goes, I could do solo albums until, they're coming out my ass. Ain't nobody going to really take a good notice and take a good look at me unless I'm with John. And he says that's kind of where it, it sucks. But then again,
such a good singer.
He's an amazing singer, right? I got to see him play a bunch of Bon Jovi stuff and he was singing it all. And then when he did Wanted Dead or Alive, I'm just, wow, man. Wow. Right. Yeah. He's a fucking tremendous singer. Right. Funny guy too. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. but yeah, no, it's time takes its toll, taking care of your voice doesn't always solve any issues. You just don't know what's going to happen. Right.
So, but try to take care, right? You always try to take care and get rest where you can. But when you're in a big fucking tour like that, for say New Jersey, man, it's nothing but radio. You don't really get much sleep. You got to find out where you can sleep. It's like, I can sleep here, but if you're on a bus, some people can't sleep on a bus. I can't sleep on a bus, right? Too much to this. And I wake up and think I'm falling off the bed or something like that, right? I just can't do it. I got to wait for it to stop. And
it's probably easier to sleep on a plane almost than a bus.
I actually, when I flew to Australia, I got all three seats to myself. So I was able to stretch out. Coming home, not so good.
No.
Not so good.
The long haul flight.
Yeah. So that's 16 hours in the air. Yeah.
So Dysfunctional, that's where they got back together with the original lineup. Was it all the original lineup?
Yeah, so that was the original lineup, and they put out a song called Too High to Fly, was their single off that. And that song was really, really cool song, right? But it's just where they put it, like I said, perception of where they put it out in the States, how it was received is completely different than perception and how it was received here in Canada. Nobody gave a fuck, right? It kind of seemed that way, like Dokken's back together. I hear it, like, I love that song. I love this, and I'm into it, right? But it's not 100,000 people here in Edmonton into it, right? It's maybe 100, right? Maybe 100. So, right, but they, you're going in and cashing in on stuff like that. I know that it becomes very hard because everything comes down into contract and stuff like that, and negotiating pay, and then becomes money disputes and stuff like that, right? Because everybody's got their own lawyer now, and now it's all lawyers talking together. And when you get up to that point, sure, right? Because you got to protect what you have and what you put in and stuff like that, and you just you want the best for yourself, right? And I know that George, like I said, he's a fucking workhorse, right? He's never not playing, right? And even if he's not playing, he's rehearsing for something to get back up on stage. So, and the only person that's really kind of hung it up and said to hell with it all was Mick Brown, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So he's just like, the hell with it. Yeah. And the way Mick played was so hard pounding all the time that, he's probably got some carpal tunnel happening in his wrists and stuff like that, arthritis. So, doing major tours are out for him. It's kind of like the Peter Criss factor, where he could, but he couldn't play the way he could. So
we just it.
Right. So he'd modify the drum kit where everything becomes triggers, right? And you just tapping on something is boom, 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 and you could just kind of tap your way through the song and be able to get through it. But even then, right, there's in the 90s, I think it was 96, 97, I think they were playing Colorado or something like that. And Peter was, his wrists were a little, and his drum tech got up. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this thing. I'm right behind him, every show, right? He gets up there, first 3 songs, a little fast. And then halfway through the set, he's like, like, holy shit. You didn't realize like how healthy you got to be. And realize like healthy. Peter Criss was fucking healthy as fuck. It's just he had some trouble with his wrists, right? So,
Ooh, Shadow Life. That people say Shadow Life was Lynch trying to demolish the band. Like it was like he was trying to self-sacrifice the band. Because what do you think of that album?
I listened to Shadow. Yeah, I listened to Shadow Life, and I feel like it's a forced album. Like the songs wasn't like the natural sort of stuff, but like it was there. But George trying to sabotage anything, it wouldn't be anything different that Don hasn't done to him, right? Right. So they're just playing tennis. Right, you sabotage me, I sabotage you. You sabotage me, I sabotage you. Right, sort of thing. Right, so it's not,
imploding everything all the time.
Well, George would like things a certain way, right? And within that certain way is hoping that that puzzle piece would fit towards Don's, but Don's like, my piece is different than yours. You have to mold your piece to mine. Oh, really? Okay. And so like it's just shit, like I say, like, I mean, I would piss off anybody. Is you go in there and you have a certain sort of idea of how the song is going to be and how its song is going to resonate for people. And then you go back in the next day and Don has changed things and he's turned it a little bit softer, or he's, re-edited the song, or, like maybe the solo wasn't that good. He chopped it up into something smaller. Or right. And so you go in there and you see your baby has now been dissected in front of you, and like, fucking what the hell? Right. So that's going to cause problems too. Having those two at each other's throats, I mean, that's kind of the given, right? But really, it didn't really start like that per se, because Dokken was pretty like a non sort of issue of having headlines. Right. And they needed something to, wow, we got to do so. So, hey, I know you guys fight a little bit. Let's start accentuating the fighting between you guys in headlines. And so people will come in and read the articles and stuff like that. So some of that infighting was really designated by the media and wasn't really happening.
And management possibly too, right?
Well, it depends, right? But it really came down into people's, how they saw the songs. And how the songs were going to, develop, and having somebody switch it all around on you, it's going to be something that's going to be a discussion, right? If not screaming and yelling, right? But screaming and yelling. You got to stay together for the kid, right? The kid is the album, right? So, whatever happened on that album in the recording is like, you got to be a fly on the wall for that one, right? And because George will give you his take, Don will give you his take, Jeff, Mick, they'll all give you a take. But I think you really have to be a fly on the wall to really see exactly what happened. Like with most things, right? They'll give you the filler story to satisfy you, but that's not really how it went down at all.
Well, in every interview I've seen, like, it's a he said, she said constantly between like members about what really went down about things. So it's rough. It's definitely rough.
Yeah. And then once you start seeing, media pick up on it and start making up shit, right? Or embellishing stuff, shit, man, like that's just, right? What can you do? And then if you see it, people are going to come up to you like, oh, you're still fighting with him? Like, I wasn't fighting with him. Right. And that becomes a fucking irritant because everybody wants some fucking drama. And you can't, like, getting along is getting along. Like, well, that's kind of boring. Let's go off the Motley Crue. They're a fucking shit show. So let's see what's going on over there, right? Fucking Nikki's doing Nikki's doing needles, fucking girls tour, fucking doing heroin on the side of the stage. I'm like, fucking boy, have you lost the fucking plot?
Yeah.
The fucking fans, the music, that's your heroin, not
that's
some
the thing.
Fucking,
you don't want all of this excess bullshit to overshadow the music, which was the reason you got together in the first place.
Yeah, well, drugs have a way of fucking changing people's fucking minds, perspectives, and their outlooks, right? And then you got a fucking, that big 3-letter word, ego, right? And that starts getting in the way. And how somebody is, if they're a mean drunk, if they're a happy-go-lucky drunk, right? Who's a mean drunk? Like I know some mean drunks, right? Out there, I would never want to be around them fucking drunk. And then there's some people that are drunk that I love to be around, right? But now if you're in a band, if you're in a band with them, right? Like if you're a band leader, it's always about, juggling, people's, their egos, their attitudes, their outlooks, and trying to please everybody. But you're still just trying to get the fucking product out onto the shelves, right? And it could be just a, hell trying to get to that point. But once you get to that point, there's a, obviously a big celebration. All right, now we get the tour together. Now, once you start touring, all that stuff starts fucking coming up to the top again, right? Yeah. And you realize, like, fucking, I don't want to fucking tour with you, but I got another fucking 26 dates, God damn it. Right. And then until I can get away from them for a bit and maybe calm down and give it a couple years and like, okay, like we had our time then. Let's, we're more mature now. We've kind of settled down a little bit. Let's try it again and do some stuff. And I love when that happens. Like it's like mom and dad getting together after a fucking divorce, right?
Yeah. One of the nice things about doing the cover band, like a tribute album band kind of thing, is that you can pick what you want. So like you can do some deep cuts if you want, and nobody would know any wiser. It's the songs you like. Do you do any songs off Dysfunctional?
Well, it's no. The answer is no. It's because that album didn't spark here in Canada. It'd have to spark with your dedicated Dokken fans, and there's not many, right? So our deep cuts are. Like the first couple songs we do is deep cut, and then we start getting into the video stuff, right? The stuff that they give videos for, like The Hunter, It's Not Love, Alone Again, Just Got Lucky, Dream Warriors, like and some of that. And then we have some deep cuts, like Heaven Comes Down, Kiss of Death, Lightning Strikes. See another deep cut that would be I was going to say Burning Like a Flame, but they did a video for that one too. So we do have some deep cuts, and then we just try to, as many hits as they had, we put them all in there and then just pepper in a couple things. And then we've started to add in a little bit of Dokken just because the history of Don with 3 of the players from Rat. So we put in some Rat scenes, and I mean it livens up the set. Right. And like, oh, wow, round and round. Right. And so it helps in the set. But I love being able to do and show people the history. A lot of people don't know that at all about Rat and Dokken and how close they were. Right.
Yeah.
With the players. And so being able, to let people in on that is exciting while you're here. And then, here you go. We're going to play You're in Love or Lay It Down or something. Right. Wanted Man.
Do you do any Lynch Mob songs?
I've done some Lynch Mob songs here and there. The ones that I've done have been Wicked Sensation, River of Love, She's So Evil, Bed of Roses. Those were the ones. But Wicked Sensation was the big hit off that first album, right? So trying to do something off the second album, it's Tangled in the Web. What a great song, right? It's got some horns in it, really loungy feeling, like real cool groove on that sort of thing. And that's one I'd like to do, and possibly, might happen here, right? So because we do have a pretty good catalog of being able to do some really cool stuff other than the hits, but bringing in the rat stuff too also helps the whole thing move along, in the set, and doing those songs too. It's like, oh wow, I love giving the little history lesson, right? Just for the people that don't know, and I'm a little bit smarter.
This is what we do here. We talk about the things and then people are like, oh, okay, I'll check that out. I'll play some clips. I'll play clips, things like that too. So before we wrap things up,
sure.
What is going on with the band now, or the members, and what do you see happening for them in the future?
As in Dokken,
Lynch Mob, any of the players.
Okay. Well, like I said, Mick Brown's pretty much hung it up, and he's done touring. He's like, if they get him for maybe a residency or maybe a one-off cruise or something like that, maybe that might happen, but it's not. Jeff Pilson, right? He's been working. He's a studio guy. He does a lot of stuff like that, and he's been playing with Foreigner for let's say 10 years, right? Roughly, he's been playing with Foreigner and doing that. Don still has his thing going on with his band that he goes up, and George Lynch will come and do some guest appearances at his shows, stuff like that. George,
that's cool.
Yeah, George is the consummate workhorse, man. He's got this project, he's got that project. He's touring by himself. He's touring as Lynch Mob. He's touring as this band. He's touring as that. So he never stops playing. Right. And just always. Or
going to the gym.
Well, yeah, when I met the guy, because I saw him like, oh, he's pretty fit. He's got some arms on him. I looked like, oh my God, shit. Ain't nobody winning a fight against that guy. He'll fucking shred you, right? Yeah, he's but he was doing a little bit of steroids here and there, right? Okay, at one point. Obviously not now, and just stays more on the healthy kick side of it. But so for the band, it's like it's do it till you can't do it anymore with Don Dokken, right? George, same thing, right? Jeff, same thing. Mick, hey, I can't do it anymore, so I'm just going to hang out and enjoy my royalties and the money that I've made, and and just hang out and just not have to worry. I've done it all. So now I can just sit back and relax, and I don't want to say golden years, but yeah, maybe it is, right? You can get in while you're 20, be out when you're 55, right? The dream, right? And be able to get out and be able to, now just relax and hang out with your close friends and go, bars and stuff like that, and maybe alter your look a little bit so you can just be a normal person, right? And just one in the crowd, and not like, oh, there he is. Right, sort of thing. So, do I see them possibly getting together for a reunion? I would fucking love it. But in the same, I'm just not sure, because it's really up to the guys, and it's really up to where they are personally. Financially, would they make some money? Yeah, sure, they make a little bit of money, but mentally, are they, do I want to do this again? And it's so hard. Like Warren DeMartini just came back and started playing with Stephen Pearcy again, right? He thought it was going to be a one-off, and now all of a sudden it's 26 shows that they're in, right? And he's loving it, right? He's loving the moment of it, right? But at some point, he doesn't need the money, right? That kid's a rich kid, right? He's a rich kid, right? His parents were, I don't remember off the top of my head, but he's a rich kid. He's got money. Don's got money. All these people have money. It's just really, it's the decision, to do it for the greater good of people, right? And so if everybody's mindset,
you still love it.
Yeah. And if, you can still get up there and, give a good fucking facsimile of what the hell you used to do when you're 30 years younger, go fucking do it, right? Because people will pay money for tickets and stuff like that. Like, I see you're wearing an Extreme hat, right?
Yeah.
No, those guys have been, doing it for how fucking long, and you go see them now, and you guys are 10 times better now than you were before. But then again, I saw them before they put up Pornography.
Yeah.
I got to see them, and they tore my face off back then, and they haven't stopped. I grew another one back. Hey, Extremes. There goes your face. There goes your face until the next show, right? Just, an amazing, incredible band, right? So, when there's that talent, there's going to be, a need for it, a want for it. Right. Mm-hmm. And when they go out and they perform, right, like we were at the show together, right? You were there.
Yeah.
I was there. I was right at the front. I was like, wow, man. They made me feel like I'm a skinny guy, right? They made me feel fat, man.
Nuno is a slim fellow. Yes.
Yeah. Him and Gary, like they're both just fucking skin and bones, man. But wow, what a powerhouse band, right? What a powerhouse band. So getting back to the Dokken, right? Is there something that's going to happen? I think that's really up to them. Would I love to see it? Yeah. Would I pay for it? You're damn right.
Mm-hmm.
In a heartbeat, right? Anything that they got coming out now from this day forward, I've got to see it because it was part of my whole upbringing, right?
Yes.
Everything was my upbringing, and aside from certain bands that that I always gravitate towards to, be your Motley Crue, be your Kiss and stuff like that, Judas Priest, right? But Dokken's one of those ones, Cinderella is one of those ones, Poison's one of those ones, that just and then there's maybe lesser known band, Kicks. I love Kicks, right?
Mine's like Enough's Enough.
Yeah. Enough's Enough. Oh yeah, Donnie V, right?
Donnie V.
Yeah,
but with Donnie V, yes.
Yeah.
Has to be with Donnie V.
Yeah, and it's great seeing those bands get back together and do that shit. So I could only hope that there's enough energy in the tank for those guys to go out and maybe do another thing and just jump on a festival tour circuit, like. A lot of people are doing casinos, right? Casinos got great budgets, right? Got great budgets. It's always guaranteed. You always got, the green room. It's always filled to the nuts for you and stuff like that. So you feel like you're, back on the road again, right? So, like I said, I don't know for sure, but I welcome anything that those guys do. Right. Mm-hmm. Because there's a big place in my heart and they're never leaving. Right. That's the band. So like I said, having George Lynch on my album is a fucking mind blow to hear his solo and then hear me start singing. I'm like, wow, man.
Is this my life?
Yes. Yeah. And, and I get the pleasure to be able to say that I am the only singer in the history of Canada from Edmonton, Alberta, to have George Lynch on his album. He hasn't done it with anybody else here, right? Mm-hmm. He's done it with some people in Mexico, maybe somebody here and there in the United States, but never anybody from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So right there, I'm number one on that. And it is fucking really cool, right? I still listen to that song and I just go, fucking wow.
We're gonna play that song at the end of the show so everyone can hear it.
Awesome. Yes. Right on.
We're gonna play it. But yeah, this was awesome. Thank you. I hope you had fun.
I really had fun. It's a pleasure. And I say, like, it's an honor. It's a mind blow to join this roster of amazing, gifted, talented people. And like, I almost feel like I don't think I belong here. But you know what? Thank you very much for putting me in a little slot with all those guys. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was awesome. It was only a matter of time we had to do this.
Yeah. It took a while here and there, right? I mean, we've been trying this for like under a year. We've been trying to, yeah. So now today's the day.
Sweet. Yeah.
I just can't
You can follow Dope Nostalgia on Instagram at dope_nostalgia and YouTube at Dope Nostalgia Podcast. Call and leave a message on our voicemail toll free. The number's 1-888-741-9192.
This podcast is licensed by SOCAN because we believe that artists should be paid for their work. Hey friends, I kind of miss getting those messages on my answering machine like we used to back in the day. What I'd really love is to hear from you, the listeners of Dope Nostalgia. This is your chance to be on the show, giving feedback, telling us what you love, what you hate, and who you'd like to see more of. Call us at our new toll-free number, 1-888-741-9192. Leave us some feedback. Your message could be played on the show. So give us a call, 1-888-741-9192. Toll-free.